What up, everybody? This is Stuart Knight, author of the books Marginalizing White Supremacy, Poetic Visions, A Steep Mister for a Sister, and The Spirit the World Has Forgotten. And those are available at Amazon.com, Lulu.com, Barnes & Noble, and iBooks. And I'm tired, man. I've been at work all day, so I'm going to try to get through this. But I felt like I needed to make this video because I had some things on my mind from a question that was posed in a chat room that I had listened to like last week. And the question was, if the oppressor and the oppressed pray to the same God, which one does God answer? And since, I've studied the Kemetic sciences and I understand that all paradoxes can be answered if you understand the principles of nature, I had to ponder on that one for a minute. And also, for quite some time now, I've been listening to podcasts, centering around military veterans being interviewed by this guy and, they're telling their life stories. And one thing that's very interesting about all of the military veterans that they have on there is that they have a faith. They have a belief. They are staunch Christians to a degree. And in just about every one of the podcasts that I've watched, when they speak of God, they speak of God as not not an entity that they, ask to see if they're taking the right actions. They actually act first and then ask God if they done the right thing, which is the most major difference between Western ethnic supremacists and Black people. See, our conceptualization of the spirits is that in ancient times, to understand the principles of God would mean that you would actually beseech the spirits first before you would act. And that's a big major difference. Now, Marimba Ani in her book, Urugu, fantastic book. If you haven't read that yet, it's a thick read, complex read, but excellent read. She put forth the notion that Christianity and Judaism are two religions of conquering. Christianity being the religion of colonialism and Judaism being the religion of ethnic nationalism. And if you really look at the histories of these two peoples, you will see that the actions that they took in their respective nations were centered around either colonialism or ethnic nationalism. So, just to take that look at that and, position that next to Marimba Ani's assertion, and then you can see what really, or how God will really answer that paradox. And the funny thing is that, in a lot of those podcasts, those military vets, like I said, they will put God on their shoulder and go out and do what they feel like they got to do in the name of eradicating evil. Now, we all understand that, everything that they put, the face of evil to them is always a dark one. So right there is no mystery that, most of the times when you're dealing with, Western ethnic supremacists within the boundaries of the United States, if you happen to be of a darker hue, you might run into a little bit of anxiety from certain peoples when you get upon their presence. So when you get within their presence, excuse me, like I said, I'm tired. But so how they might view evil, might be suspicious, from our standpoint. So the question, the paradox, who would God answer, the oppressor or the oppressed? And I say both. God answers both, you see, because the oppressor, since they go out and act before they beseech God, God answers them with, well, you went out there and conquered, and thus you conquered, but the consequences, might be a little bit different than what you expect. And the oppressed, when they beseech God for a little bit of ease from being oppressed, maybe God answers them, well, since you want to ride my back instead of doing what needs to be done to remove the yoke of oppression off of you, then therefore I will grant you your wish of what you desire. See, it's all about what you do in everything. What kind of effort do you take? So instead of looking at God as a philanthropist, we as Black people need to look at God as a motivator for us to re-engage the ancient principles of bringing balance to the world, bringing balance to ourselves as a people. It takes action. It takes action from within you to do what's right. You can ask God what's the right thing to do, but it's up to you to engage in a necessary action to effect such outcomes that you can deem bountiful, that you can say are good things for you. So once again, let's us as a people stop riding God's back and like a philanthropist, expecting our prayers to be answered in a benevolent, fashion. It's going to take our own work. It's going to take what we got to do. It's a beautiful thing to love the Lord, but when it comes down to taking a yoke off our necks, it's going to take us. It ain't got to be about violence, though. Let's get that correct. But it's got to be about doing what's right. Once again, this is Stuart Knight, author of the books Marginalizing White Supremacy, Poetic Visions, A Steep Mister for a Sister, and of course, A Spirit the World Has Forgotten, available at Amazon.com, Lulu.com, Barnes & Noble, and iBooks. Peace.